Hello and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. Today we're going to be using products from the March Hedgehog Hollow kit, and I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring and doing two different cards for you. And one is going to be a one layer card and the other one is going to be I'm going to cut the images out using my Silhouette Cameo and my Picscan mat. I'm going to be real honest, this is probably the 5th time that I have recorded this voiceover and I just haven't been happy with any of it. So if I sound a little off, it's because I'm getting stopped up from talking so much after doing the voiceover. So I'm probably going to play a little bit of music throughout because this is a really long video at this point. It's probably about an hour and a half and I'm editing it down to 20 minutes and that's still kind of a long video. In my creative process, I will take my stamps and lay them out on a 4 1/4 by 5.5 panel of whatever cardstock I have handy, and that is so I can get the placement of my stamps. And then I'll take the acetate backing off of my stamp set that's sitting next to me, and I'll stick my stamps on there so I can have an idea of how I want my stamps to be laid out on my card front. Sometimes that works amazingly well and sometimes it ends up changing dramatically, and it's honestly just an idea and a way to keep your stamps in the approximate place that I want them. I ended up actually inking up the stamps on the acetate sheet and stamping them on just a scrap panel of paper so I could keep that idea and y'all could actually see it as well. Then I am stamping each individual stamp using my mini Misty, and the reason I'm doing it individually is because I wanted the stamps to butt up closer together in that center section, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough room for that creativity to be there as well. This is the one panel card, one layer card that I'm doing, and then I'm actually going to stamp creativity separately with the brush and that image, and I'm going to cut that out so that I have that to be able to pop up, and I'm going to do that 2 times because I'm going to do that particular method on both of the cards. And my Silhouette Cameo makes that very, very easy for me to do. I'm not a fussy cutter. If y'all have ever watched any of my older videos, y'all know I'm not a happy camper when I have to fussy cut. Picscan mat works best on a black background. You take a picture of it, make sure the entire mat is in there. You'll calibrate your camera with the Silhouette Studio software and upload the picture into Silhouette Studio. And I will show you how you outline and everything in just a second. And I stamped all of the individual images and then I put those on the Picscan mat as well and cut those out. And I'm really liking my mini Misty. It's really, really small. It's a little different to get used to, but I really do like the size of it because it doesn't take up my entire desk. I don't have to move a bunch of stuff around. I really like it. I got 2 of those so that I'll be able to swap back and forth. So here we go real quick, and I'm going to finish stamping this, and then we're going to jump over into Silhouette Studio software, and I'll show you how to use the Picscan mat to cut out some images. Alright, so we're going to import this picture. And if you've seen my previous 2 videos, we did this as well, and I'm not a fussy cutter. I'm just not very good at it, so I don't, and that's one reason why I absolutely love my Silhouette so much, is because I can do this and import my picture. And it imports the mat as well. The calibration information is over on Silhouette's website, and you can walk through that. It's also with your Picscan guide. It's in the help section.
and you can use this in the standard edition. As you can see here, I'm using the business edition, but you can use this in any edition that you have. If you're having trouble with a Pixscan mat, there's a couple of things you can do. Make sure you're in a well-lit area. Make sure you have the latest firmware. And if you are using a beta version of the software, I recommend that you go back to a stable version of the software. I'm actually using a version of the software that works for me. I upgraded at one point and ended up going back a revision because it was unstable for this. And I used this so much that this has to actually work for me. So we're going to trace this, and it's going to be the outline. We're going to take the outer edge of it, and then I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to offset it. Select my image, offset, and you can select how big, how small you want your outline to be. And then you delete the inside image. So now you just have that outline. And I'm going to duplicate this a couple of times so we can stack that up. Then I'm going to go over here and click send. And I have heavyweight textured cardstock. I'm going to do 2 passes and use the overcut so that it picks up the blade and turns instead of turning in the paper. And that's where you get the ratty edges on with a digital die cutting machine, as you want the blade to pick up out of the paper and turn and go back down in the same spot. And get those crisp edges around there. So we're going to send this over, and then we're going to finish making the card.
So that's really, really easy to do and be able to cut out a bunch of images all at the same time. Even though you only saw me cut out creativity, I could have stamped everything on all the different panels, put them on my Pixscan mat, and cut them all out all at the same time. And Pixscan can do that. You don't have to do it one at a time. I just happened to show you that one little thing. I'm going to start with my 1-layer card. I don't want my images to float in mid-air, so I am going to create a really simple background for that, and I'm going to do some Copic coloring. All the colors will be listed below, and I'm going to play some music while I finish up my Copic coloring, mainly save my voice and my sanity, and I'm going to see y'all back in just a minute. All right, so I'm finishing up my 1-layer card here. I've got to drop some shadows in. I didn't want the palette to look like it was floating in midair behind all of that stuff. So I drew a very simple border around it and made it look like it was a picture hanging up behind them. Easy, you know, solutions to that issue. So I am going to add a little bit of depth here and just draw in some shadows, color in some shadows. And I haven't Copic colored in a very, very long time, so I am a little rusty in dropping in my shadows. I am a lot rusty in dropping in colors for different things. I believe halfway through this video, I actually had to stop and remember how to re-ink a Copic marker because I hadn't done that in so long. So I had to find my stuff to re-ink my markers. That was interesting and fun, and I kind of laughed at myself for figuring out how to do that again because it's been a hot minute. So while I'm finishing this up, don't forget that you can go over to the Hedgehog Hollow and subscribe to a monthly kit so that you actually get the kit every single month without having to think about it. It's a unique kit. It has unique stamps in it that you can't get anywhere else. It has unique stencils in it, and it's usually a set of sentiment stamps and then 2 4x6 like images with sentiment stamps, and then a small set of like a small stamp set, one of the little ones, and then a stencil that's usually 6x6, and it will cover a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card front most of the time. Absolutely beautiful stuff. I love it. I signed up. As you know, I have been on the design team for quite a while now, and it's one thing that has kept me creating throughout all of the crap I have been through in the past year. And it's kept me creating, and even though that might have been the only thing I was creating was for the design team, it did keep me creating. And I greatly appreciate that because I was always inspired by the products and have loved being on the team with amazing people. And this month changed up and we have some new team members, so definitely go take a look at their creativity. And absolutely beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. So now I'm going to start working on the layered card, and I'm going to build up a background here. And I just pulled out some pattern papers, and I am using, this is not Neenah Solar White cardstock. This is the white cardstock I'm using here is just an index weight card that I bought a big pack of, I think, at Walmart before I left there. And it's so that I can use it to stack stuff. I mean, it cost me $5 for a ream of it, and it's great scrap paper, and it's great for stacking stuff on. I'm not stamping on it. I'm not coloring on it. The only thing I'm using it for is for like that instance right there where you're not going to see it, and I'm going to stack it up behind stuff. It's a great money saver instead of using your Copic, your Neenah Solar White paper, or anything like that. It's a great money saver, and it's almost the same weight, so you might just need to cut one more of it, but it's the same premise. I mean, you're doing the exact same thing, and I really like that idea of using that instead of my Neenah Solar White cardstock. And it's white, it's almost identical in the same color, so try that idea of using a less expensive paper to do your stacking stuff with. I'm using the same colors that I did on the other card. I decided to zoom in so you could see this a little bit better, and I just picked a side and said, okay, that's going to be leaning up, and I put a shadow on the bottom side of it. Like I said before, the colors I'm using will be listed down below, and I am really just trying to get my hand used to coloring again because it's been so long since I've been able to color. So I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing with my Copic coloring because I don't think I did all that great of a job at it, to be honest. Just because it's been such a long time since I've done it. So I'm back to practicing. I'm back to, and y'all will see my practicing because I'm not somebody that wants to waste a whole lot of paper and ink and not show anybody. So I will show you my mistakes. As you know, I make many of them, and we'll go ahead and finish up our coloring here. It doesn't take very long. It took me to make both of these cards probably about an hour and a half to make both of them, and I colored everything the exact same way so that I didn't have to think about that part of it. And if you wanted to try this at home and see, you know, try your hand at doing a 1-layer card, this is probably the simplest way to do it, to build your confidence into creating a background on your cards yourself instead of using somebody else's stamps. That is one way you can build your confidence if that's something that you're interested in doing. I've done it a couple times. I like stamped images. I really like the look of them. I like the feel of them, and I'm not a great artist freehand. I'll draw a straight line every once in a while. I can do a little bit of perspective, but I really like using stamps in my backgrounds and to show off other people's work and see how I can create with other people's work. I really do enjoy doing that. So we are going to finish off this card, and I'm just Copic coloring. I'm going to play a little bit of music right now, and then we'll come back right when I'm getting ready to finish up. There's our cards for today. Add a little finishing touches of some glitter here on both of the front of those, which makes all the difference in the world, as you know. Notice I left white space, quote unquote, on both of them in that top left hand corner. Don't be afraid to leave white space. It's kind of in a group of 3 as well in that visual triangle. Don't forget to subscribe to Jill Cameron Creations right here, and head over to the Hedgehog Hollow and pick up your kit today. I hope you enjoyed this Copic color. Come back. Y'all have an amazing day. Thank you so much.